Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I'm coming to you from my bubble here in the car, sitting in the driveway. And the other night I was sitting here doing a 5am club, sitting in the car, and I've got the car facing outside towards the across the road, and there's a house across the road, and there's a kitchen window which is looking straight out at me. And I think the owners of the house there, they're just new owners that have come in to this new house and have been doing a lot of work there, so we haven't had a chance to meet. But I was talking in the car and just doing hand movements and describing things and doing all that sort of stuff. And and the poor guy, the poor owner of the house, came out and crossed the road actually, and it was in the rain, crossed the road, and he was looking at me. And I waved at him and told him that I was on the phone talking. He probably thought I was maybe had a problem or something like that. I don't know what he was thinking. I hope he wasn't thinking that I was making gestures at his wife who was in the kitchen cooking. But I'll go and have a chat to him over the next few days and just let him know that I'm doing Jim's 5am Club, so he understands that I'm not looking looking at his house and looking at his through his kitchen window. Anyway, before I get fully distracted and forget about what I'm going to do today, I just want to take you on another journey. I'm doing a book summary at the moment, and I'm doing a deep dive on a particular book, and the book is called Factfullness by Hans Rosling. It's a wonderful book, and it's such a wonderful book that I've decided to do 10 specific and unique 5am clubs and do a deep dive on each of the 10 instincts that the author has come up with. The things that each person has as part of their makeup. He calls them the 10 instincts that distort our perspective of the world and prevent us from seeing how the world really is. So I'm going through each of those distortions and doing a deep dive, chatting about them, talking about them, giving examples, so that we can get a better understanding of how these distortions impact other people, our family members, our friends, parents, grandparents, relatives, but also how they affect us both consciously and subconsciously, because a lot of these distortions are happening at a level that we don't even know that they're there and they're occurring. So the distortion that we're going to do today, the instinct that we're going to do today, is called the urgency instinct. And it's an instinct that that we have, and you see it all around you. Now, sometimes some people all of a sudden want you to just drop everything and do what they want to do. You know, you're at work and all of a sudden you're working on your project, and then somebody will come over and say, oh, you got to help me, it's all urgent, it's urgent. So we've got this urgency happening all the time. We're getting bombarded by requests to like pages in Facebook and this, that and the other, and everything seems to be urgent, but nothing really is urgent. The only things that are urgent in our lives are the things that we deem as being both urgent and important. They're urgent and important because of our, for our safety, for our children's safety, for our project safety, for the things that we're in control of. But the thing that goes with urgency is also a sense of panic. And what the author is suggesting is that when we panic, or when other people panic around us, they set off a string of things which are basically disruptive and can impact the way we see the world and distort reality. So what the author says is urgency is good. Like, urgency is good. The fight or flight response, which is basically the real urgency, was important, back in the day when we're walking through a jungle and there's a line behind a bush, and we need to straight away make a decision: fight or flight. Fight the lion, or run, climb up a tree, or do something to get away. Or back in the days when we had hand-to-hand combat, where we had to make a decision there or then, which will determine if we survive or if we don't survive. But when we panic, when somebody flicks the panic switch, flicks the urgency switch, what it does is it causes a chemical reaction in our bodies, and all of our instincts are triggered and engaged at the same time. And that's fair enough, that's okay, that's good, if you need everything engaged at the same time. But when you're working in an office as an accountant, looking at a spreadsheet, and somebody calls you on the phone and says something's urgent, and all of a sudden all the switches are flicked, then your whole world is distorted. I've worked in a corporate environment, and there are some times that some people create so much stress in our lives that you just shut down. You just can't operate. So it's important to understand that these things are happening around us, and urgency, panic, fight or flight is something which is, yes, important and good, but at the wrong time, in the wrong circumstance, can lead to a wrong outcome. So, as the author says, our problems these days are different to what they used to be. They're more complex, they're more abstract. And, if you have complex and abstract problems and you overlay it with urgency and panic, what it does is it causes more problems. It doesn't solve the problem. It causes more problems, is what the author is suggesting. So it's something to understand, because it impacts not only us, but it impacts people around us. So if we're going to be able to be a valuable team member, a valuable parent, partner, work colleague, friend, or whatever, we need to be able to short circuit this urgency thing, this panic thing that people tend to trigger at the drop of a hat, is what I'm reading into a lot of this stuff that the author's talking about. Because the author says, and this is a very important point, things are rarely urgent. I know it's hard when your boss tells you to do something at work and he tells you that it's urgent. You just can't tell him or her that, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. Now you've got to exercise common sense and not put your job at jeopardy. But in other areas of your life, you need to learn how to pace yourself, because we can only focus on one thing at a time and do one thing at a time really, really well. And that's why it's important. Whilst I'm on that topic, I know that over the years I've seen a lot of issues in families, and couples end up fighting, couples end up divorcing even, because of the challenges that they've faced by either the in-laws creating problems for the couple, or the children have been the ones who have instigated the issues and problems. Because if you've got other people constantly coming into your relationship, into your life, and saying, drop everything, it's all about me, drop everything, then that is not healthy. That is not healthy, and it creates issues. It creates major issues. And as we said, when other people panic, then all of your instincts are triggered and engaged at once. Your body goes into a fight or flight response because the amygdala is stimulated, and you've got cortisol being spewed into your body, which is the adrenaline, which as I said, if it's needed, it's great. You know, if you're about to get hit by a car and you jump out of the way, or if you push somebody out of the way because they're about to get hurt, then, you know, the cortisol is useful there. But there are other times where we're just constantly stressed, constantly panicked, and constantly, you know, chemically overreacted, that it's just not good for our health in the long term. So the author says that we need to take small steps. We need to take a deep breath, because things are rarely as urgent as other people make them out to be. The answer should always be, when somebody says that something's urgent, that no, I can't do it now because I'm working on this. And can we do it, you know, tomorrow? Or can I do it in 3 hours' time? Or can I do it next week? You know, always push back. Always push back and tell people that their urgent requests are unwelcomed. And that way you try and shape the conversation better, and people will respect you more. But the author says that it's important to relax, because if you're working on something which is complex, abstract, requires a lot of thinking and a lot of intuition, then you need to be relaxed, because your analytical brain shuts down when you're in a panic mode, when urgency stimulates all of your instincts and all of your senses at the one time. So you should never be thinking, or should never be in a position where people tell you it's now or never, because it's never now or never. Trust me, is what the author's telling you. Nothing is that urgent that it's now or never. You know, get that into our heads, and make sure that other people get that into their heads as well. Because we also need to ask for more time, always ask for more time and more information in order to be able to solve the problem and to push back. Because if it's urgent and important, realistically, if it's urgent and important, then we need data that is accurate and relevant and timely. So don't just push your problem onto me. You know, you need to give me the problem if it's my problem to deal with. Remember, kids, don't push your problems onto your parents. You know, you too can solve a lot of your problems. And also parents, in-laws, and third parties. Don't start pushing your problems onto your friends. But if you need help and it's urgent and important, let them know respectfully that it's, you know, you're sorry and you need that you desperately need their help. It's urgent and important. Give the reasons, but also give them accurate and relevant data and information so that they can work on something which is useful. And the author also here tells us we should never fall for this either or, now or never situation. Things are never either or, right? Because it's rarely binary, is what the author is saying. It's never black or white. There's a whole spectrum of grey which sits between the black and white. You know, to get to the number 10, it can be 2 plus 8, it could be 4 plus 6, it could be 9 plus 1, it could be 10 plus 0, it could be 5 plus 5. There's more than one way, there's more than one solution. So we need to understand that we don't need to take drastic action all the time, unless, of course, it's called for and it's needed. Anyway, well, we certainly talk a lot, don't we? I'd never thought when I first started Jim's 5am Club that I could talk for half an hour on various topics and do it repeatedly. I can do it 4 or 5 or 6 times a day, every day for 6 months, for a year. But I enjoy doing it. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. to my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's take a lesson from this wonderful book and remember the urgency instinct, that everybody wants things to be done here and now for free and for it to be perfect, but it's never that urgent and it's never that important. And we need to be able to push back and to make sure that we're given the space, the respect and the time to be able to work on things, and not in a panicked or an urgent state. Because as we said before, when the amygdala is overstimulated and our body is full of cortisol and adrenaline and we're in fight or flight response because all of our instincts have been alerted at the same time and our analytical brain shuts down, then we're not in a position to do anything other than to stress out. So always push back. The answer is always no, and ask for more time and more information. And don't let children, don't let third parties, don't let your boss, don't let other people dictate what's important and urgent in your life. Else you'll be always stressed out and always unresourceful because your analytical brain is burnt out. And you got to understand also that complicated and things that are very, very analytical, things that are very abstract, require you to be very relaxed so that your intuition, your subconscious, can come into the fore and help you solve those problems which can't be dealt with your logical left brain. Anyway, that's enough for me, I think. Let's have a chat tomorrow, 5 o'clock, from a different location, hopefully out and about, with a different message from Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And I really thank you for joining me on this journey. And it's been a long one. It's been a beautiful one. I've thoroughly enjoyed delivering every 5 a.m. Club. And it's enabling me to grow and develop in ways where I didn't think possible. And I encourage other people to do the same if it's something that they like doing. As I said, I'm not naturally a teacher. I've never been a teacher. I'm not naturally a talker. I've been shy for most of my life. But with this technology that we've got available to us, it's available to each and every one of us to make the most of it. Anyway, take care. Yasas. Filaki from Jim on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Get the lemma. We'll chat again tomorrow, next time. Don't know what it'll be. Don't know where I'll be. But hopefully it'll be interesting, useful, and empowering. Bye for now. Yasas.